Tonight, taking our questions to the source.
This follows a social media bombshell from President Donald Trump on Friday night. He posted that he was immediately terminating temporary protected status for Somalis in Minnesota. But the president does not actually have that authority.
And as our Renee Cooper reported, only the U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security can make the call. Renee, today you had a chance to hear from her on the issue for the first time.
Yeah, that's right, Brett. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem had a previously scheduled visit to the Twin Cities today. So I asked her if she plans to follow through on the president's request. Here's that exchange. Secretary Noem, do you plan to terminate that temporary protected status designation for Somalia, and on what basis?
We plan to follow the process that's in law to evaluate TPS. It was always meant to be put in place after an incident or an event on a temporary basis, and that's what the evaluation will be.
As Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem points out, Somalia first received temporary protected status, or TPS designation, more than 30 years ago in 1991. Most recently extended through March 2026 amid ongoing civil war and political instability involving terrorist groups. Here's DFL lawyer and former lobbyist Nancy Hilden on that issue Sunday morning.
Department of Homeland Security's own website says Somalia is a level 4 risk. Level 4 means do not travel. It is not safe there.
President Trump's social media post calling for TPS termination does not mention those current conditions facing the roughly 700 Somali nationals in the U.S. with TPS. Instead, he points to fraud in Minnesota. However, Sari Long, an immigration attorney from Minnesota, says historically, a change in a country's condition is included as justification, and she expects legal challenges to follow.
There would need to be more. It can't simply be that there is this ongoing focus on fraud in Minnesota to cancel TPS federally.
Just to be clear on that TPS, is there a changing condition in the country that would give reason for the termination of this designation?
Well, that's not under the purview that I have the latitude to weigh in on. That's an evaluation that's done by the federal government, and that's what they'll look at, is to see if something from 30 years ago, when this designation was given, if it still holds true and if the individuals still qualify for a TPS program.
But that will ultimately be your decision.
It will be something that we'll go through the process on and evaluate.
Now, again, regardless of who is involved in this evaluation, Secretary Noem is that final and only decision maker. I should point out that the vast majority of Somalis in Minnesota are now U.S. citizens and have not been charged or convicted of fraud.
And Renee, did Secretary Noem clarify whether this evaluation would be just for Somalis living in Minnesota, or would this decision have nationwide impact?
Yeah, we've been asking about that, and she did confirm today that this is a federal policy and therefore it has to be applied nationwide.
All right. Renee Cooper reporting. Renee, thanks.
Thank you, Renee. In Minneapolis,